Hi,
Okay.
I'm State Representative Carolyn Tomei, and you're watching Milwaukee Today. Only this is really Milwaukee yesterday. I have a couple of wonderful guests today. We're continuing a program that we'd started from last week. I have Jean Johnson and Lillie Moore joining me, and we're happy that you've joined us today. We're continuing. We're talking about the Ardenwald neighborhood and Johnson Creek Boulevard, and the history that these two ladies have with them. And you have a story too about the truck farmers there, the Italian farmers on Johnson Creek Boulevard.
Yes. This was the story of Margaret Evans, a long-time resident there. She was born in Ardenwald, and she was saying that the children on their way to school, the schoolhouse was just on the south side of Roswell Street, and on the north side was where this garden was, where they were raising all the vegetables. And these Italian people would be working out there, and when they went by, they would hold up a vegetable, say it was a carrot, and they'd hold that up, and the kids would say, "Carrot." And
that's how the Italians would learn?
They started learning English from that.
From the kids telling them what it was?
Yes.
That's great. Now, Jean, you have a wonderful picture here. Tell us who this is.
Well, this is my husband's grandfather, Tiedemann. His name was, they were Norwegian, and his name was spelled Tiedemann. Some people, like Lillie, calls it Tiedemann.
It's Margaret Evans who kept insisting.
But the Johnson family always called him Tiedemann.
Tiedemann.
Mm-hmm. And we
gave 4 acres to the city shortly after we were married. And those 4 acres were on the other side of the creek.
On the other side of the creek. We sit up on kind of a high hill and look down at the creek. When the leaves are vacant, we can see the creek. And when it gets to being wild like Johnson Creek. And so many people ask me 2 questions. Was the creek named after you? That's a big no. And are you ever flooded? But and they make quite an issue of the fact that all they hear about Johnson Creek is the floods that it brings.
Right.
No, we're way up on a high hill. And I can tell you that walk down that hill, and when I was pregnant particularly, it was a long ways down. But we managed to keep the trail going, and that's still the way I get down. I don't drive down.
Oh,
but it's a beautiful spot for picnics. And every 4th of July, we had the Lewis and Clark people over for a 4th of July, which grew to be so large that we had to quit. It grew up to be about 100 people because everybody'd want to bring their friends. And it just didn't seem appropriate that we should overload a nice spot like that, trample the grass and all that.
Yeah, right.
So.
Great. Well, we've got this picture, and
can you show it?
Put it on. I'm putting number 2 for Richard. We have number 1 picture was of Margaret Evans, and she's deceased, so unfortunately we can't interview her. And Mr. Tiedemann Johnson is also deceased because he was quite elderly, and he's number 2. And we have pictures of the pond that you built down there, right?
Yeah.
This is some pictures of the pond.
This is the pond, and we have a road that goes down there. We call it Lillie's Road.
Lillie's Road? Yeah. Good for you.
It starts out on my place.
Ah.
And then goes down the hill and across to their place.
So that's number 3. Okay. And this is you and your husband in 1967 sitting along the pond. That is a wonderful picture.
Yeah.
I've never seen your pond.
We had it dug out, and fortunately we have a waterfall that comes down there, and so we just sent the waterfall into the creek area, and it makes a lovely spot for a hot summer day.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, that's picture 4. And we have some other pictures of people along. Now, this is a picnic in
Yeah,
1949.
this is an early picnic, one of our very first picnics. And the only trouble was getting people down there. Sometimes they were reluctant to drive down Lillie's Road. And but that was one of the very first picnics. That was in 1949.
Okay, and so these are friends?
And these are my relatives.
Oh, your relatives?
My father and my little son, Steve, who's now a big man, 50 years old, and my two daughters, and my brother and sister-in-law.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, that's picture number 5 for Richard. Okay, and I've got to check the time. We've still got plenty of time. Now, this is a picture. We don't have a date on here, but this is your front porch.
And now we did take, we took the pillars out and took the porch, made it into a sunroom during the oil crunch. You remember the oil crunch?
Sure.
And otherwise, we haven't done much to the house. Yes. But it had a big front porch.
Nice. Picture number 6. Okay, and here's another picnic. Maybe that's sort of a duplicate.
Early one.
That one. Oh, and this is a picture of the bridge. Now we have 2 pictures of the bridge.
Oh, yeah. And 2 times we lost bridges. And one time my husband's father went down the river with the water, but he didn't
He was
drown.
on the bridge?
Yeah. Yeah, he was crossing the bridge. He was fooling around. He was quite a woodsman, but he didn't drown. But it was pretty scary.
Oh,
And I used to take the tri-mat, but I could walk across the bridge. But when I couldn't walk across the bridge anymore, I'd take my shoes and socks off and walk over and catch the train. Then coming back, I'd remove them to walk up the hill to my
Lily's
house.
hill.
Talk about transportation.
And here's another picture. Now, who are these 2 folks?
Well, that I got
picture.
mainly
That
for
was
the
7.
bridge. And this is a visiting aunt from Los Angeles.
Okay.
And she was very impressed with it. And in those days, we rented out, or didn't rent out, but allowed campfire girls to have camps down here. This is across the creek, and the bridge goes over to our property and up the hill to our house. But the campfire girls and the Boy Scouts had cookouts and stuff like that.
Great. So that's picture number 8. Now, who built the bridge, Lily? Jean.
The WPA, Works Progress Administration.
Is there a
Isn't that
bridge?
right?
Is there a bridge now?
No, I have
What was it that happened to that bridge?
the water washed it.
Oh,
flooded,
yeah, a flood.
Twice we lost bridges.
Now, this is Walt Chalet. What is this?
Well,
This is picture number 9.
Walt is my brother-in-law, and he built. He's dead now, but he built. He was a bachelor, confirmed bachelor, and he built an A-frame down here. Can you see?
Yes,
yeah,
I can.
Yeah,
right.
And so my son lives in that house now.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
That's Steve. Okay. So this is picture number 9 for Richard, who is going to be superimposing some of these pictures as we talk. Lily, let's get back to you, dear. What is this?
This was the first church in Ardenwald, and it was someone donated the land for that, and the people pretty much built it. And then the steps used to come out here to this sidewalk, but they took that out and had it come this way, so they changed around the way it was. And now
This is
it
on the
is a
corner-
boutique. It's on the corner of 32nd and Van Water.
And it's a boutique selling clothes from Morocco, and they call it, what do they call that? It'll come to me.
It's
I want to say Chancery, but that's not right. It'll come to me later.
It's right next to
Right.
It's in what used to be the parsonage there.
I think that's what they call the parsonage now. I think. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's 32nd. Somebody in the audience is nodding and saying yes. And it's wonderful. They have things, they have clothes and other items from Morocco, which are just beautiful things. So if anybody watching wants to go shopping, 32nd and Van Water is a great place to go. So, Lillie, what are some other memories of yours?
Well,
Tell me a little, go ahead. I was
Go
going to ask
ahead.
you about the downtown.
well, downtown actually was pretty much the same as it is now, except there are so many fewer businesses in downtown.
It hasn't grown, has it?
It has lost the
Yeah.
downtown part.
And why do you think
Because-
that is?
Well, there wasn't, the biggest reason was because there was no place they could park. They could park in front of the stores, but you couldn't get very many people in there. And their customers didn't have any place to park, and so it wasn't a very satisfactory situation. But we did have a couple of dress shops down there, a couple of grocery stores, and a hardware store, and
There was Teeny's, the little department store, several banks,
yes,
Teenies.
and there was a shoe store. Right, lots of things.
our
What was something that you remembered? I remember you talking about the sidewalks. The sidewalks in downtown. Was that you, Jean?
No.
Wooden sidewalks? Didn't you tell
I
me about
didn't. I'm sorry. That must have been someone
Oh,
else you
okay.
interviewed.
I thought it was, oh, maybe it was somebody else. You're right. I'm sorry. I've talked with a lot of people lately. Getting back to the clubhouse. Talk some about the clubhouse.
Well, I think that was quite
Picture number
an
11.
unusual thing. Actually, it was everything went around the school. I mean,
All the activities
all
in the
the
neighborhood.
activities, and people would nowadays, when they can hardly get anyone to go to PTA on the Friday night that PTA was, everybody in the community came out, and they would
This was at Ardenwald School.
yes, and each room they'd say, "This is so and so's room." Any parents from there, they'd all stand up, and there'd be quite a few. And we got 1 year, we had 3 times that we got to stand up for PTA because we had 3 children in the school at that time. Ours also went all the way through Ardenwald and Milwaukie Junior High and Milwaukie High School. So they have been very active in that. It was really a very friendly community. People would bring cake for PTA, and we'd have our cake and coffee and sit there and visit for a long time. It was, you got to know everyone. And they also did a lot of things, having volleyball games there, or people coming just to play volleyball. And that was something that they really enjoyed there.
Well, tell us some about the community center, the Dogwood Lodge.
Well, the very early
is picture
part,
11.
the Graff family,
Don Graff and
Don and Dorothy,
Dorothy.
And some of the Sedgwicks.
There's some
I
water
need
here.
a drink. The Sedgwicks and the Swans. There were several very active people there in the community. They'd get together and have card parties, but any money that they got from it went toward buying the land for the community club.
And we have a picture of the community club before it was torn down. This is 1989. It says free firewood, but it does show the community club, and it was a nice looking building.
we had a dance there one night before the building was finished, and only part of the floor was available to dance on, but we all had a good time.
Didn't you do square dancing for part of it?
Well, we didn't. There was one group that did some square dancing there, but
Or maybe that was at your house before it was finished. I remember the square dancing.
oh yes, we did a lot of square dancing. That was very popular at that time.
Oh, it's good exercise.
Kind of, they aren't doing so much of it now,
Right.
but
Our time is just about up, but what I'd like for you to do is to stay, and we will do another show that will be another half-hour show, because I want to talk a little bit more about your family history, and I want to talk a little bit more with you about the community center. And we have a picture of the community center before it was torn down, which was a shame. We'll talk
Yes.
a little bit more about how it was built, and we'll talk more about your family. And thank you very much for joining us. Join us again next week, and we're going to be showing a continuation of this show and talk a little bit more about Ardenwald. This is State Representative Carolyn Tomei. You're watching Milwaukee Today, but we're really talking about Milwaukee yesterday. See you again next week. Bye-bye.